Hey everyone, it's Ron and Jenny here for this week's edition of Ask Ron. Okay, so the first question is from Scott Tabb in Newark, California.
So Scott, how does it feel to be the first one to ask the question in the year 2017?
Okay, so there is a section that needs to be notarized on the deed after the seller signs.
Right.
Do you usually have a notary meet you at the house to notarize, or can it be done at another time after the seller has signed the document?
Scott, the only place the seller is going to sign the deed is in your attorney's office, and therefore your attorney has the notaries, so you don't worry about that. We do not go into sellers' homes and get deeds signed anymore. That's long since a thing of the past, and that's going to get you in trouble for sure. So you close with attorneys, therefore a notary is no longer an issue.
Okay, and Scott's other question is, could you please share some of the experience you have had with sellers in a seller's market versus a buyer's market?
Well, I've been through all kinds of markets over 35 years. I've been through 5 different downturns. There's never been a time where I couldn't buy houses, seller's market, buyer's market. When I started, the interest rates were 18% prime rate, and today they're way down low at the opposite end. I bought houses my first year, I bought houses this year. Frankly, it just doesn't make any difference. People are always going to need to sell, and others are always going to need to buy. When you're in a seller's market, that just means you have to process more leads to get more yeses. We're kind of in a seller's market right now, so we have to work a little harder to get at the good deals, but there's still plenty of them out there. Of course, we're in a buyer's market. That's a great thing, because now they're easy to sell, and you can pretty much raise the price on them and get what the market will bear. It really don't make any difference. We just adapt with the market. And I know you're in California, by the way. I'm coming your way tomorrow, which is actually today. So if you're watching this on Friday, and we're doing a seminar in Ontario tomorrow. I think it's Ontario, somewhere in Southern California tomorrow. If you're not aware of that, get a hold of my office, and maybe we'll see you tomorrow or Saturday.
Yes. Okay, so the next question is from Jamal in Amarillo, Texas.
Hi, Jamal.
I have a seller who wants to lease option their home but not owner finance. Can I explain to the seller that I can find a lease option buyer, but in order for me to do so, I need to have a purchase and sale agreement with them, which is just so I can solicit for a lease option buyer. But we won't actually go by that agreement.
No, here's your only 2 choices, Jamal. Choice number 1 is you can agree to lease option it from the seller, and then you can find the buyer and assign that contract to them, but you cannot sublease it to a buyer. So you can't sandwich lease in Texas. Now, I would talk the seller into selling it to you with owner financing. So you just tell the seller, if I buy it, I'll go ahead and close on it, and I'll worry about trying to put somebody in the house whenever I can. But if you insist that the only way you're going to sell it to me is on a lease purchase, then I have no choice but to go find somebody and sign that contract, and I'll keep whatever I can get from them. Just tell the seller the truth. Besides, honestly, it doesn't take any longer in Texas to foreclose on the house than it does at least to evict somebody if you need to. And well, they changed the rules here last year. It takes a little bit longer than that, but I'd do my best to get title to it and buy it with an all-inclusive trust deed or a wraparound deed of trust. And honestly, it may come down to, if the seller doesn't want to do that, I might just pass it and go find another deal. But those are your choices.
Okay. So the next question is from Kenny Kaywood in Tennessee.
Kenny?
Have you ever encountered a situation where a tenant buyer goes to get a loan to cash out a seller and the house appraises for less than the agreed upon purchase price?
Oh, many times. In fact, I had that situation today as we sit here. And actually what happened is my buyer went out and got a low ball appraisal. I know it's a low ball appraisal. I mean, gosh, anybody can go on Real Estate ABC and get their own comps today. But I can't control what appraisers are going to appraise the house at. But here's the deal. It doesn't matter. The buyer agreed to pay X for the house, so they can either pay X for the house or they can move. Or you can come to some kind of mutual agreement. So you want to lower the price, fine, but I wouldn't lower the price just because the buyer comes in and says the house appraised for less. I'd say, well, go get another appraisal. And then I'd show the comps to justify that the value is there. But even if you can't justify that the value is there, When this buyer moved in, they made you a promise that they would pay that price or not pay that price. So it's up to you. Either they pay that price, or you lower that price, or you extend it and give them more time to buy it, or they move. Those are the options. So I'm standing firm. My house is worth much more than the appraisal they brought me, and they can decide what they're going to do from here. It's up to them.
Okay, the last question is from Marianne in Garden Grove, California.
Garden Grove.
My residence and my 3 rental properties are out of my name and into a revocable living trust name. So when I die, they won't go through probate. My appointed trustee has signed authority over all my assets. My question is, if I have an ongoing owner finance or subject to with the seller and have lease optioned it to a buyer and I die, do I have to do the same with these properties?
Well, I'm not sure I understand that question thoroughly, but something you said does bother me. You said that they were in a revocable living trust. I don't know whether you meant land trust or not. If they are in a living trust, that means that if they are in a living trust with all of your other assets, that is a very dangerous, deadly thing. You don't ever want your properties titled into a living trust that has all your other assets in it, because that means if anything happens on those properties, that happens to all your assets. You've got all your eggs in one basket and you're dangling out there just waiting for an arrow to strike you in the heart. So if you truly have them in a living trust, you need to probably get legal advice on that from an asset protection attorney, not an estate planning attorney, and see if you're in danger there. If you have them in a land trust, then the land trust, whoever the beneficial interest is going to determine what happens to them after you are dead. A land trust will prevent the probate, but the person who's receiving the beneficial interest must know that they are entitled to do that, or nobody will even know, because the land trust agreement is sitting in your filing cabinet at home. So the moral of this story is you need to talk to an attorney to get to the bottom of this situation and make sure you fully disclose everything that you've got and give them the paperwork and get advice based on the situation when they have all the facts, which I do not. So I'm sitting here trying to answer a question that I have very little information on. Okay?
That's it.
That's all we got today? Wow. All right, well listen, are you guys going to see us week after next at the convention or not? Have you signed up for the summit yet? Do you know it's almost here? Starts January the 17th. So you tell me, what better things have you got to do on January 17th through the 21st and come spend time with us in Daytona Beach with your peers from all over the country? We are going to have a blast and learn a lot of things and process a lot of deals. We're going to process hundreds and hundreds of deals. In fact, it would make sense to me that if you don't come for any other reason other than bring leads and let us turn them into cash for you, that it's certainly worth your time and energy that you put into it. Honestly, what are you doing that you can't put off till after the summit is over? Not to mention we're going to give away a car and thousands of dollars worth of prizes, and I mean, we just got a lot of stuff planned. Literally, we got full days. And that includes them actually taking me out into the ocean and expecting me to do a polar plunge, which I'm still giving some very close thought to, but so far I'm committed. Frankly, I'm hoping for crappy weather. That way we can call the whole thing off. But so far the weather's beautiful down here, so I don't know how that's going to turn out. It's a gorgeous day today. Anyway, go get signed up at RES 2017 and come join us. You only get one shot at this. It will never be repeated, and you're going to hear a lot about it after it's over. Come on, don't you think it's in your best interest to do? What great way to get this year started off right. Go to RES 2017, and I'll see you in Daytona Beach.